Fire on the mountaintop, and there is fire on the mountaintop. God knows there is fire on the mountaintop, and no one is young. For the world's not yet born. Oh, for the people who are for the people, peace. For the people who are God, for the world's not yet born. Oh, for the people who are for the people. I cry when I see that I am born. I leave when I see what I have to do. Because that is all about when you see that for the people who are gone. For the ones not yet born. Oh, for the people who are for the people. I cry when I see that I am born. I leave when I see what I am to do. That's life is all about. When you see them looking at me, just think what's there with time. My birds are flying, and my one there waiting for me. Yeah. But then you better say, I want to run.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Thank you for
morning.
joining.
Good morning.
And thank you guys for sacrificing your
Good morning.
weekend, Saturday morning. I'm dressed for home and be already. But thank you guys so much for coming, and it's a pleasure to have you here. I hope you can hear me clearly, and I think there's a background noise myself. Very soon it's die down. So good morning, everybody. My name is Onyeka, and it's nice to meet everybody. I'm welcome to the Excel VBA class, right? So before we go any further, before going further, I'd just like us. I would like to get a sense of people we have in the room, and because it's to determine how we will go around. Because we know we have some finance professionals, we have people that are just doing regular day jobs, we have people in the industry, right? Just to have a sense of who is in the room and how we approach this, right? So we will do that with a Mentimeter poll, right? So please let me know where you can see my screen. Can we all go to menti.com and input this code? There's a short quiz I would just like us to do, just to get a sense of those of us that are in the room, right? So can we all just go to menti.com? It will be up in a minute. menti.com and input the So it's just a simple question. I mean, just a simple question. What is your proficiency in Excel, right? Let me share my experiment. So yeah, I just want to understand the people we have in this group, right?
Sorry, what's the code for the Menti, please?
79069070. So we just like to get the feel of the house, right? That's what we are trying to do. Just understand how we approach the Excel VBA today. So we have about 24 people in the room, 25 people and 30 more. Only 5 have answered. So just like to understand, right? Are you a beginner? Are you an intermediate user, or are you a professional? Are you like a big boss, right? You have mastered the art of Excel and stuff. Okay, so I mean, once we get about 15 responses, we'll begin, right? So I just want to get at least 15 responses from the room of 25. We have, I mean, slightly tilted at the moment towards intermediate users. So just can we get like 15 more? I mean, 7 more people or 10 more people, right? Just to go on this poll, so we'll know what we're working with today.
I'm trying to input the code, but it's not working. I don't know.
Oh, 790. Okay, 7906. I've posted the link. The link will take you directly to this already without putting it. I've posted the link on the chat box here, so you can just follow the link as well.
Okay.
For Ada asking for the code, this is the code. Yeah, we have 15. I mean, once we get to 16, we will move on to the next. Okay, beautiful, right? It's slightly tilted towards intermediate users. So we don't have anybody that's saying that they are pro. I used to be and guys, now we are pro. Yeah, I think we're just trying to be very humble, right? So I mean, that's one. The next question, we just to get a feel of the room as well, right? The next question, still on Menti, we just like to understand. So typically, what do you use Excel? I mean, MX Excel for, right? Just typically, you can just type in, I mean, just general, just understand what is being used for. So we help us tailor our approach and our delivery method today. So what is Excel being used for currently? I mean, by you, what do you do for preparing accounts, or just normal VLOOKUP kind of things, or you work with databases, just anything, right? Just, I mean, it's open-ended, right? So just anything. What do you use Excel for? Still on the same link, right? What do you typically use Excel for? We just want to understand so we can tailor our lessons for today. So what is Excel being used for? Okay, I'm seeing some responses: accounting purpose, data analysis, data presentation, accounting. I mean, if possible, if you can put your line of work, if you're in medicine, so medical data analysis or financial data analysis or healthcare data analysis. So we have an understanding of those that are in the room, right? Yeah. So just for us to better tailor our approach today. Hey, we have counting data, database for computing tasks. Okay. About 14 people. Once we get to about 16, we will move on. We have 28 people in the room. 20 people in the room. Yep. Viewing exported data. Okay. Yeah, so generally, everybody, okay, civil service, thank you. In civil service, can we also put where we use Excel? Supply chain consulting, thank you very much. Am I seeing any financial services people here? Any FMCG, medical line, just to understand, right? So our analysis and our expense, they will tell us towards this line. Okay, so I mean, we have 16 people, and I think we can stop here. I mean, we have a general feel of what's happening in the room. So thank you, everybody. I know I'm a bit dark, but pardon me, I'm a bit dark for this, but it's not me here to see, so we will just excuse the excesses for. I mean, let me try. Okay, yeah, I'm not dark in real life. I'm actually very fair. So yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, I think it's much better here. So today we are going to be exploring the world of Visual Basic for application, right? And we have a 3-step process, right? Today, and this is just the introductory class, because anything you can learn in 2 hours is not hard. Right? If you can be a pro in 2 hours, like definitely, you can just learn it anywhere, right? But I'm telling you, this skill is a lifesaver, right? A lifesaver. So I would like to share my practical experience before we go deep. Before we dive into what we have today. So the year was 2018, and I was working in a major financial institution in Nigeria, and we were doing a lot of work. Those kind of work that you finish around 11 p.m. and you'll be tired. Like, we work from 8 to 11 every day, back to back, weekends, Sundays. We were always there. And I'll come back in the house, I'm like, I've worked today. I wear suit and tie. Like, I've worked today. God, I'm stressed and everything. And what were we doing? We were preparing the scorecards of about 7,000 plus people working in the bank at that time. Right, and we're using was to us it was efficient, right? We're using Excel, we do the calculations, we will PDF it, we'll now start sending it to everybody one by one and everything, right? And just imagine it for 7,000 people, it was a lot. So we have a lot of sheets, a lot of workbooks, different things, we go, and it was, in my mind, I was helping the society, I was making the life, making the world a better working world. Until I met this guy. His name is Manuel Enya, and he's in the room now, right? So I met him, and like, Manuel, I'm working, like, I'm a workaholic. I work to this and this. And I started explaining, what I do this. Like, hey, I said, yes. He said, so how long does it take you to do all these things that you do? I said, it takes me about, I'm with it every week, every month, right? So 2 weeks over a 4-week month, 2 weeks, we use that on Excel. Typing this, exporting, and we're using formulas. In my mind, we're doing awesome, we're doing very well. I said, hey, are you serious? He said, yes. And I explained everything to him. I said, no problem. He asked me for some data, blah, blah, blah. And I sent to him. And he sent me this tool. And I was like, what is this? He said, when you can take this, your work. This is your 2 weeks work. I said, my 2 weeks work. Come on, stop. In Nigeria Palace, why will you say my work is in one Excel? Come on. And I literally just pressed 2 buttons or 3 things, 1, 2, 3, put some setting formulas and everything. Some settings, conditions, like drop down menu, and everything, like 7,000 staff. Was it was November, no, I think 2019 thereabout, February 2019. Sorry, 2018, pardon me. It was an eye opener. In about 10 minutes, right? The 10 minutes because of I'm gathering data, right? In about 10 minutes, all my work for 2 weeks was done. I am telling you. And in that team, I became a star. Onyeka, you streamline process. 2 weeks to 10, 2 weeks to 2 hours. That's what they call me, right? So what we're using in 2 weeks, right? We're able to do it in barely 2 hours, right? That is for vetting and any other issue that may come. In barely 2 hours, we were done. So we were not like, so what will we now do the rest of our time, right? So I remember when I came to my present job, I also did something similar, but this time when they asked, normally it takes people like 2 days to do it, right? Or 3 days to do it, right? I did it in about 1 hour thereabout, but I not send it until after 3 days because I needed to rest, just to chill and everybody think I was working, right? But honestly, Excel VBA, and the many things that you do, no matter how complex you think it is, all you need is just to use this VBA, right? And VBA means Visual Basic for Application, right? And it runs with all Microsoft platforms. So Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook, right? So from Excel, you can stay on Excel and integrate all other things, right? You can create dashboard on Excel, on PowerPoint from Excel, and you're not opening any PowerPoint documents, right? There are a lot of opportunities, right? It's what does it do, right? Basically, number one, it can be used to import data from a host of applications, as I've said, even from JavaScript and other platforms. It used to automate repetitive tasks, and I think that's why most of us are here, because we do a lot of especially those of us that do repetitive tasks and work with a lot of large data, even though it's small data, right? But as long as you do it, if you do it every day, it can be automated. If you do it every week or every other time, you only have to do it once and automate the rest. right? It can be used to perform data analysis, as we all said. It can be used to integrate websites using API, right? So even from Excel, you can go to different databases, right? The Oxford Economics, Bloomberg, and integrate data from there into your Excel without having to go there, right? You can create time-based applications and different things, right? So today I will not be doing this alone, right? And our hopefully 2 hours will be enough for us. And anywhere we stop in 2 hours, we'll stop in 2 hours. I will tell you the next steps, that we plan for 2 hours. But please make sure you are very attentive. It's just about 2 hours, and I'm telling you, it will worth your while. But for just as a refresher, there was a link to a drive that was sent that contains all the relevant materials we'll be using today. I've posted the link again on the chat box. Please make sure it's important for us to download it in advance. So when we are moving, we are all moving together and no one is left behind, right? So can we just download this right now with next 2 to 3 minutes? For those that have not downloaded it already, let's just go to the drive, download. There are two folders. One is raw sheets and the other one is training materials. So please let's download those two as we begin, right? So our process today will be in 2 ways. The first way will be a demonstration, right? So we don't just show everybody and everybody working together, right? What is possible using Excel VBA. Then we'll now move to the next round, which is now creating our first code. And the code will be creating, that is if time permits us, right? So we will use, we have 4 plans, but we know that because of it's a large class, maybe there may be a lot of back and forth and everything. So depending on where we can reach, right? The first thing we want to cover is how to combine several workbooks into one Excel sheet, right? So you have different workbooks in different places, combine into one worksheet. We want to do automated scrolling, how to format with Excel, using VBA to read content in other Excel workbooks as well, right? And how to there's something we call just trying to get the exact word, data extractor, right? So imagine you have you're working with the client and give you very random data in different places, right? How VBA can go and read the data, right, and bring out all the valuable points and arrange it for you in a very beautiful manner. If that is if time permits, right? But the much we can cover within this 2-hour period, we'll try and cover, because there's no point extending it past 2 hours. Most of us will already be gone by then, and our man will not be here. So joining me in this class is my friend, the person that introduced me to Excel VBA, Mr. Emmanuel. And he's a project manager in a leading financial institution in Nigeria. Mr. Emmanuel, please, you can unmute your mic and we can begin. Mr. Emmanuel, unmute your mic, turn on your video, and let's begin. So while we wait for Mr. Emmanuel to okay, I think he's here. Mr. Emmanuel, where are you?
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can, and we can see
you. Can you hear me?
We can see you.
Yes, we
can
can.
see
Good
me.
morning.
And you can see me. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Onyeka. And welcome to this VBA demonstration. I think Onyeka has said it all. So mostly what I'll be doing is just comment the demonstration. Okay, VBA is kind of is a programming language, but it's not a standalone programming language. It runs on the background of applications. So it's a Microsoft tool that was first planned to be running on Excel. Eventually, Microsoft decided to expand it to run in virtually all Microsoft applications. So VBA is running on Excel, it's running on Word documents, it's running on projects, it's running on PowerPoint. And the beautiful thing about it is that it can actually integrate with other Microsoft applications, and even beyond that. So we'll be demonstrating how these things work, but first, let me just
link.
So first, let me even give you background and also my journey towards VBA. Just like when I met Onyeka working in our organization. And when he told me his story, I just laughed because I can relate where he's coming from. My journey to VBA commenced in 2014 when I was just kind of bored. I was a business manager then, and I was kind of bored. And knowing that Excel has some, Visual Basic background, so I just decided to just be playing around it when I don't really have things doing. So, and gradually I picked up interest, and, before I know it, I was moved to head office. I had opportunity of joining a project team. And when I joined the team, I was meant to be the data analyst there, and I do data cleansing. So it's something that, we used to do this thing. When I joined the team, they used to do some things in 4 days. What they gave to us then, you used to do it in 2 weeks. It takes it's tedious. And when something is very tedious, nobody actually likes doing it. It's a job that once you tell people to do, they will just run away, or somebody will just give one excuse or the other. So what did I do? And I started leveraging the knowledge I have on VBA. Then I used to come to work every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, to build the scripts. I don't sleep till 2 a.m. sometimes trying to build the script. Eventually, I perfected in it to the point that I use this thing to first achieve the first successful customer allocation in the bank. Front bank used to just do account allocation. They just look at an account of a customer and say you are a mass market, you are a low affluent. Meanwhile, a customer might have 5 accounts, and if you aggregate these accounts, the customer may turn to move from mass market to become a high net worth affluent. So what did I do? The challenge has always been, how can you aggregate these accounts, and there are millions of them. So it's something that was very difficult. But I needed to, work on it. So I developed a VBA script that I used. It was iterating over 17 million accounts, and it was within a couple of hours, it was able to run this thing to the point that we were using it for allocation and customer segmentation. Up to when I left the team, I still leverage VBA on so many things. So that is how I've been writing VBA for 4 years. So I can say at this point, I've become, can achieve expert level in writing Microsoft Visual Basic. So let me quickly share my screen so we can go through the few slides I have on this, and we can go into the demonstration part of it. Okay, am I allowed to share screen?
Yeah, let me make you. Yeah.
Okay, you can just make me, give me that.
Yeah, so you can.
Okay, thank you, Yenka. Okay, let me quickly share screen. I don't know if you can see my screen. Tell me when you start seeing it.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
So this is Microsoft VBA capability demo. So let's even start from what is VBA. Everything starts with a definition. So VBA is Visual Basic Application. That is what VBA is. So it's a Microsoft proprietary code compiler that runs on applications. So it runs on things like Excel, Word, Outlook, Access Database, and so many other Microsoft suites. But that is not the only story. VBA is a kind of a modification of Visual Basic. Visual Basic is a programming language for Microsoft. It was developed from a Quick Basic, which was initially developed for teaching students how to write some programs. So because of the popularity of Windows, Microsoft purchased that application and developed it further to Visual Basic. So in this case, you can leverage a graphic user interface, so it's no longer code. Before now, computers are run by just typing commands. They were command-based, so they were using a kind of operating system called disk operating system, DOS. So you type command, it will work. So if you want to open Excel, then you don't have anywhere to click. You need to type open Excel or something like that, and system will open Excel for you to work. So eventually, when Windows came, Microsoft started leveraging Windows for several things. So the basic they had then was compiler running on DOS. Eventually, he turned it into a Visual Basic. In this case, you can create some combo box, you can create some text box buttons and all that. And when you click them, it works. So they called it Visual Basic, and it was a hit then in the market. A lot of programmers have to leave it and leave what they were doing before and leverage Visual Basic. So after some time, other programming languages started coming up like Java and other ones. So Microsoft decided they needed to move on, and that was the birth of other programming languages like C# and so on. So, but this VBA, because of its simplicity to learn, and also, it has already been developed as part of, it also has access to some of the window functions. So they decided to, make good use of it. And in 1994, they introduced it into Excel platform in Excel 5. Since then, Microsoft has, the language has evolved, it has become a very powerful programming language, and it's almost mimicking what we call object-oriented programming. So you can call objects, you can manipulate them. So basically, what Visual Basic actually does is it just manipulates object model of the host application. So it's not a standalone application and may never be, So what this means is that it is not a compiler you can download on its own and use it to develop something. For instance, you can download C# compiler, install it, and use it to develop the application. Or you go to Visual Studio, you can use it to develop application. You compile it into a binary code and it runs. But VBA is not so. VBA only runs on application. That means you have to do that on Excel, Microsoft Access, PowerPoint projects, virtually almost every application that Microsoft uses. There are also some third-party applications that are running VBA, like IDEA. If you know about IDEA, that some consulting firms are using for their data analysis, this uses a VBA scripting. So what can we do with VBA? Several things. I can say that if you know anything you have ever done on Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft projects, anything you have ever done, whatever you have ever built before on it, you can use VBA to achieve that. And you achieve it at a speed that no human being, computers have made things run so fast, and they are making the world also run so fast. So before now, you used to see an industry where they hire 30 people to be, inputting data, copying it from one place to another the whole day. It's supposed to be very busy industries. But these days with scripts, you can do billions of computations in just a few minutes. So because of that, no matter how you run, you cannot run as fast as a computer program. So anything you can ever think of doing, in these applications, you can write VBA that can do it, not solely faster, but more efficient and error-free. There's no way you copy and paste, adjust, that you're not going to meet one error or the other, But especially when you start, fatiguing, when you get tired, you start making more mistakes. But the systems, computers don't get tired. They kept running as long as there is power. They kept running. So how does VBA operates. So first, VBA works by manipulating object model of the host application. I've said that before. And what are some of these objects that applications can expose? For instance, Excel workbook. Excel is an application, but what are the objects that you can get in Excel? Like the workbook is an object. So one Excel can have several workbooks, so when you open your Excel, you save a lot of workbooks on it. So whenever you open each of them, it opens. So you click, you go to your file explorer, you click and you open. So you can open an Excel and you go to file, open, and it opens a workbook. And from workbook, you get worksheets. And in this worksheet, Excel can contain several worksheets, can contain thousands of them, but it's not always advisable to have several worksheets because it's slow down the system and so many other things. Then you have charts, you have also cells. Cells are, when the intersection between a row and a column on a sheet is called a cell, and each cell is addressed. So we have ranges. When you have several cells joined together, we call it a range. I've talked about chart and pivot tables. I know if you have done data analysis in Excel, you know what pivot table is about. It's a very interesting tool to use in aggregation. So you can actually use VBA to create this on the fly, manipulate it as you want it and give out your result. Besides this, there are several statistical, financial engineering and mathematical functions that you can, that can be manipulated using VBA. So you can build any kind of model. Even machine learning models are now available in Excel, where you can just pick on one machine learning model, pass your entries, and it builds the model for you. And so many things Excel can do. Excel is a very powerful application. It can actually integrate with Word, write something in Excel, it picks it up, take it to Word, convert the Word to PDF, attach it to Access Outlook, and send it out as an email. When he sends it out, he receives the report and updates your Excel sheet that he has sent it. Excel can even run a script that reads your mail, extract a certain type of file, save it in a particular particular folder. You can even tell Excel to send a text message to somebody with an API. You can tell Excel, you can even build a small game that can play around using Excel. So Excel is very powerful, using VBA. But you can't do this if you don't understand how to write. So, so what can it do really? We can do file management. That means Excel, VBA can look through your files.
I think we lost Mr. Manuel for a bit, but Mr. Manuel, are you still with us? Is that continuing?
Can run through your files. Get me only 5. Hello, can you?
Yes,
hello,
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry, call just came into my phone and it's loading. So you can also automate regular repetitive functions where when you go to work, they give you one file. So copy this, copy this, copy this. Every day you keep copying it. You copy from when you stand, you go to 11 and copy and paste, and you continue doing that. So it can be very tedious doing such tasks. You can integrate it with other applications like Word, to read the content of words and also do some manipulations. You can also create a time-based application that executes repetitive tasks within a defined time. So you can tell Excel to remind me, by 8 o'clock, tell me that I need to, join this class by 8 o'clock. You can even tell it, open the Zoom application because I need to join this class, and Excel will do that for you using VBA. You can do a string matching algorithm. In this case, you can run scripts that can detect people's address, giving you address to say check If you see this address, copy out the name. You know, I want to know everybody living in some part of Sulady. They give you very long Excel sheet that contains over 1 million records and say, be looking through them. Once you see anybody living in Bode Thomas, copy it out. So that is some people's job. So they do this and they will be looking at that Excel from morning to night. You know, sometimes it takes days and days and days to finish it up. So you could imagine looking through 1 million records. There was a time when I joined City, we were given 3,000 records to look through, just to identify customers that it was a mix of SME and individual customers. So they were telling us, go through these records, identify individual customers and copy them out. So it took 3,000 records. It took us 3 days to do 3,000 records. Now imagine when you are given 1 million of these records to do. Is it not suicide that somebody is trying to commit at this point? So it's going to be difficult. But I can do a string matching algorithm and say, if you see Bode Thomas in the address, copy it out for me. And I run the script. I can go out for my canteen and sit down there, and the script will be running. When I come back, it is on. I just close it, and I'll be happy going home. Why your colleagues are there, you know,
Sorry,
trying
to. Can we meet at my? Can you?
So please, if you are not speaking, you mute your mic so that. Sorry, maybe you may need to meet some people who are not speaking. All right, thank you. So, you know, you will run this and go home. Sometimes when I was still in corporate in my former department, what I do is I set this thing up in the evening and go. The next morning I come, the result is ready, I pick it up. Meanwhile, some people will carry their laptop home and they will continue to do it all the night, all the day. Tomorrow they come back again, you know. So it was very difficult. But knowledge will actually make things easy for you. And it's going to be very helpful. So you can also build, integrate with a website using API to upload or download data. You can perform data analysis leveraging Excel functions. So what are the things that you can, the advantages you can achieve using a VBA? You can eliminate errors that are inherent in manual tasks. There are certainly no way you are not going to make mistakes if you are using just manual. The only way you can do something is just doing it manually. You are certainly going to make a lot of mistakes. You can even allow a third party to perform a task for you that ordinarily will require your presence. For instance, if you've done, maybe there is something that you need to be keying in and the person doesn't know how to do it, they can't do those computations. You know, you have to be there to do it. But if you have written a script that can do it, you can just tell the person, click on this. When you see this, click on this, you can go. And the person will click it. Doesn't know what's happening, but it's working. So if he gets to this point, if he asks you to type something, just type 2. You tell the person what to do and you leave. And the person will be doing it. When the system say prompt for 2, you push 2, and the script continues running. When it is done, you can say once it tell you execution completed successfully, call me on phone. So you can go where you are and you can be doing some other things. Some people will be running this thing. I will be doing some things in the kitchen or my house chorus while the script runs. And when it is done, it sends me a prompt. I can tell VBA to read something aloud. I can tell VBA to read this document. I can tell me the content of this, and it will read it aloud. And I will hear, oh, this is completed, and I will come and continue the other things. So it saves you a lot of time. It can make you a go-to guy in the office. If you become an expert in it, everybody comes to you for solution. Even now that I'm no longer in my former department, they still call me and say, I need this help. Please, can you help me this? I've been given this task and I believe you can help me, do something that I do help them. I will write a script and give you, just use it, and it solves their problem. Besides, you can earn some passive income, doing VBA job online. You know, some of you that if you know about some of these, you know, online sites where you can do freelancing, you know, freelancing jobs, you see that if you know VBA, it is $1 billion business, you know. So you can meet somebody there and, you know, just collect $100, doing something in 1 hour, you know, and you make some money out of it. You know, so today we'll be doing demonstration, just like Onyeka said. We will do some demonstration. If time permits us, we are going to even write our own first VBA code and see how it works. You know, so we'll be doing a lot of just some few demonstrations on how these things actually work. So we'll be importing some files. You see how we can import some files into Excel. We can combine several workbooks into one Excel sheet. We can automate scrolling. You know, maybe you want to search for a very large record like that, or this eyeballing. You know, some eyeballing things, sometimes you still need to do eyeballing. You know, when you look at a series of, you know, records to extract the odd ones. So you can do eyeballing sometimes, but you'll be using your mouse to scroll up. Sometimes it can be so tedious and, you know, tiresome. But you can do a script that it will just be going up on its own, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up, you know. As it scrolls up, when it reaches to the one you want to check, you just click and it stops. And when you are done, you double click again and it starts scrolling up again. So we can also do some simple formatting using Excel sheet. Whatever thing you have ever done in an Excel sheet before, know that VBA can do it for you and more efficient. So thank you. If there is any question at this point, I can take it before we go to the demonstration.
Is there any question for the demonstration? Then, okay. So
Hello? Hello?
please go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I just wanted to confirm, are we going to get slides from this presentation?
The slide, yes, we will also upload it on the share drive we sent earlier.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay, I will have to continue. Let me just, you can have a newer version where we can do this. So let's do some demonstration on what we can actually do with VBA. I will have to share my screen on.
So someone is asking
these things.
The difference between VBA and macro.
Okay, good. Macro is a recorded process. You know, macro is, okay, you are doing a repetitive task and you record it. So when you record it, you can always play it. So we also demonstrate how to record macro. So when you record a macro, you can play the macro and it gives you the same result that you've recorded before. But it will not allow you to make modifications on the fly. You just have to play it and record it the same way. It's just playback. Just like you recorded this session, you play it. So when this session is playing, if where I clicked maybe import file, you cannot change it at that point to say click clear, because it's already recorded to that at the 12.05 seconds, it has to be import file. So that is the difference between macro and VBA. But VBA is kind of is customized. You know, it is bespoke. It's not kind of static. It's flexible. It's dynamic. So you can do things that we tell it based on this condition, do this. Based on this condition, do this. Based on this condition, do this. But recorded macro cannot do such a thing. It doesn't take decision based on conditions. It just, you know, pop it out the way it has been recorded. I hope this answer satisfies their question.
So please, can we all open, there's in a document we shared earlier, can we open, it's called updated import file into worksheets. So, I mean, can we just open that file? if you have it open, can we just type yes in the chat box so we know we're on the same page? Can we just open it? It's called updated import file into the worksheet. For those of us, I mean, I hope everybody has the link to the Microsoft, I mean, the shared drive. I'm posting it again. Yes, okay. We have people saying that they have.
Sorry, is it raw data or
Sorry.
training?
It's on that training file. It's on that training
training
file.
file, yeah?
Yes, on the training file. So, Mr. Michael Cousin, I'm also dropping the drive in case you don't have that. So I think we can begin. I mean, time is never on our side again. But I think
Sorry, please. Sorry to bring you back. So what are we looking for? Animals or what? I don't know. What exactly are we looking for?
Sorry, updated import file into worksheet. Updated import files into worksheet.
Thank you.
That's the
Thank
Excel
you.
sheet.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ola. So yeah, I think we can begin now, Mr. Maro.
Okay, thank you. So I will have to share my screen again on this. Share screen. You need to allow me to share screen already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can now.
Okay, I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So this is just a simple thing I built for the purpose of this demonstration. So what does it do? It simply imports file from, from the work sheets. We have some few records that we want to import into this sheet. Then we can import files, into sheets. In this case, it imports the first file into sheet 1, or the second one into the next sheet, and so on and so forth. So we're also going to demonstrate that. So we can also import files into the whole file into one sheet, but they follow each other. So this is just a demo for file management. So we are going to do other ones, and some of them we even develop the script here, and you see how these things are done. So let's start. I want to import this file, just one single file. I click on this. I go to this. So the system will import it. So you can see what happens. So I've imported a record from my, my folder into my workbook sheet 1, just by clicking a button.
Can you go back to
one into this? Hello?
Hi, Mr. Emmanuel. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Is it possible to go back to how you got this too? But I don't think I got that too. Very fast. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Let me type, sorry.
Yeah. So I think Lami was asking how we got into this place, right? So
so let me clear and start afresh. So now if I just want to import this file, so I already have Excel worksheet somewhere else. So I have
to
this
import
button that
animal one.
I've built some, yes, I've built
Yeah.
some scripts into. All I need to do is I just click on this and the file dialog box will open. Can you see the file dialog box?
Yes.
Yes, so we have several files. So there are so many of them. So I can decide just to import this first one. And once I click this, I click OK. And the system will just import it for me without much ado. Very simple. So if I wanted to do this without VBA, I would have gone and go to my system, go and search for where the file is, open it, copy this file, come to this place, paste it, go and close the former file I opened. But the system just imported into me, not neatly, without any issues, nothing, no much stress. Jacob is raising his hand.
Jacob, Jacob, please go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Manuel.
Morning.
I'm a little lost as to how you got about the import file, because I know you can't just like create a box on Excel and just click import file. That means you would have like put a code or run a formula behind that, and that's pretty where I want to know how you did that. What were
Okay.
computed?
Okay, certainly I will show you that, but we are just demonstrating the capacity. Then we will go into the code part where we now begin to view how the code looks like and how it works.
Okay.
We're even going to write some few codes today to just show you, exactly how this is. Okay. So now I can clear this. I can decide to import files into sheets. So in this case, I have 4 files. So in this, what I just need is to select the 4 of them and I click OK. And the system will start importing them. So it's imported, and it is importing and is creating those sheets on its own. It's not just importing them, but it's just also creating those sheets. You can see that we started from sheet 1. This is the first sheet. So we imported animal 1 here, and he created the second sheet and imported animal 2. You can see it. It created the third sheet and imported animal 3, and it created the last 4 and imported the 4th one. So this is what VBA can do for you. So for instance, if you wanted to do this manually, you have to go there, copy it, paste, come here and create another sheet. You go there, copy it and paste, come here and create another sheet, and you keep doing that. So if you have 1,000 sheets, the beauty of VBA is not when data are few. The beauty of this is when we have very large set of data. So if you have 1,000 sheets to import, do you know how many hours it's going to take you to do this? You'll be importing it, coming here, click it, create another sheet, go and import the second one. After some time, you may need to go for lunch, and you come back again and the work continues. But here you just click a button and you can go away. If there are 1,000 sheets, the system will be looping and importing them for you. And by the time you come back, all those things have already imported.
Excuse me,
now,
is it possible for it to import one in the same sheet? Like if you want to import different documents in the same sheet.
Yes, that is the next one we want to demonstrate.
Okay.
So the next one we want to demonstrate, I'm going to clear this. So we're going to import all these things into one sheet. See this sheet 1. Sheet 1, that is where we want to import all the sheets and their content. So what we just do is to click on this and I select these 4 files. And once I do that, I click and the system will now start importing them for me. How it knows where to import the next one is all dependent on what the VBA does. Can you see what is going on? So we are done. So your question answered? You can see that it has imported the first one here. It has imported the second one here. It has imported the third one here. And the 4th one is also imported. You can see what has happened. Now, you see that it's importing them with their headers. So I can even write the script and tell it, remove headers when you are importing it. I can modify this script to remove headers when you are importing it. So any question around this? Now you'll be wondering what happens when I click this clear. Once I click clear, everything is gone. So this is also what VBA can do for you. Now, if there are no any other question, I think at this point we can go into to begin to look at the codes that actually, run this.
Mr. Amanda, I think before we go there, let's go to data extraction on as well. Let's just do that then.
Okay, for the data extraction part.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So this is a work I did for a client some time ago. The client met me online and was complaining that they give him a receipt. These receipts are come in digital form, but he needs to extract the receipt information and ensure that they are properly aligned for further analysis. I will show you how it looked before, and at the end of the day, how it looked when the script has completed execution. So I told me the story when I've given it to him. He was like, am I sure it will work? When I was telling him yes, so I did it. And when he clicked it, he shouted, as in, this is a 2 weeks work. I did it in just a few seconds. So this is kind of what VBA can do for you. It's like you've gone several miles, you are very thirsty, and you are kind of sapped, and somebody just gave you a cup of cool water, so when you take it, the utility will be maximum, so this is what knowledge of VBA does. Hey, this thing I have been suffering myself for a very long time, so you just happen in just a few seconds. So let me just close this and bring up that particular file.
So once we are done with our first 3 demonstrations, we will now go into how to develop the codes for the remaining last hour of the class. Okay, Susan, please, you can go ahead. You have a question. Susan, please go ahead. You can mute yourself, Anna.
It can be in several folders. All you need to tell VBA is to go to all those folders and extract. You can have several types of file in that folder, but you can be specific. You can tell the VBA, although I have several types of files, I only want you to get only Excel files. It will obey that instruction and do it for you.
All right, thank you.
Seamlessly. You're welcome.
So I think let me share it. I think I have it open on my system.
No, I already have it. I'm just opening it. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, I stopped sharing before, so let me share the screen. Onyeka, you need to enable me again.
Yep, on that. I think you're sharing your PowerPoint.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
So everybody on the file is called data extractor on training files. So that's what we are looking at now. Data extractor on training files. So we can open data extractor sheet in the training files folder.
So can you see my screen now so I can explain this?
If you can, yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you, Onyeka.
But I'm seeing the PowerPoint now.
Don't worry, I'll go to that again. But you can see it now.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. So this is the file extractor. So this is how the data comes. So it is I think this guy works in a water corporation or thereabouts. So it's like a utility bill. So they will import it like this. So each of these is actually one row of data. Each of these is one row of data. But you see, this thing is scattered. So they want you to extract the KIF number, the date. They want you to extract whether it is the MD, the WDS. So this is exactly what they want you to extract. This is how it looks.
And another use cases, for example, financial statements. Let's say you've imported different financial statements on Excel, and it's really, really everywhere as well. But this is an invoice. Yeah.
So for us to demonstrate this, I may need to delete some of them so that we only run on few rows, because it will take some appreciable time to conclude if I don't remove some of them. So I will just have to come here and say I delete this, and then I will just say run. So when I come to the results, I just click run. So you can see that the script, this is exactly what was required. They want the guy to extract the numbers, extract the, the IDs, the districts, WS, you can see where this is coming from here. So what the guy does is each of these, you see this number, you come here, you come and copy it, you take it to this place, and you paste it in this first line.
Excuse me, can you go over it again?
Okay.
Please.
Okay, this is what the guy was doing then. These numbers here, you see, each of these is one block of record. So you have to extract this number, this particular code here. You extract this, you extract a lot of things. So this is what the expectation was. This is how they want it. You can see even the dates, but this has to be done. He used to do it manually. So he clicks here, he comes here, he picks this first one, he takes it here, and he pastes it here. Paste it. So when he pastes it, he comes to this second line, he comes here, he go to this particular second number. Where is it? Where's the number? Here. He comes, he picks this particular address, he just copy it, he takes it to this. So he will continue to
Sorry, sir, please, can I ask a question, please, before you continue?
Okay.
Now, using that, the raw, is it not possible for him to use text to column and everything will fit in like this? I'm just asking, I don't know.
Okay, text to column can only work if this is properly aligned.
Okay.
You can see this is not properly, the C is here. For some, the CA is here, some is there. So some, this date is not properly aligned as well. So if it is properly aligned, like if you imported something from CSV, you can just use text to column straight away. But because it's not properly aligned, so you can't really use text to column.
Thank you, sir.
Text to column, okay, good. That answered your question. So it is so the guy has to do it manually, one by one. So you could imagine doing this thing, 1, 2, I think this is up to 1,000. So he does it. It takes him more than 2 weeks to do this. So, but when I finished building this, all he needs was to just click this and the system will say concluded, and it has actually extracted this end to end at a record speed. So you can see the advantage you can, you can achieve, time you save doing this. So this is one of the things you can use VBA to achieve. And there are many use cases. You can send, one of the things Onyeka team they were also doing then was, when they have prepared scorecard for the whole branch, over 7,000 people. So you'll be sending each of them to the recipients. So you imagine sending 1,000 mails, so you can't, you write the mail, certainly you've written the body, but the names are not going to be the same. So you are going to be sending it to different persons. So you click, open, you type the name, you copy the body and attach, go to your look for the exact scorecard of the person. You select it and you send. You do it again for the second person, third person.
I don't know if it's my network or it's the man's network. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so having demonstrated this, I think the next step is for us to now go and start looking at how these codes look like. I will not be showing you this particular one. The reason is that this is quite complex. You know, the script that is executing this particular one is quite complex. So since you don't have prior VBA knowledge, I think we just have to take it easy and start giving you make first before we can start giving you solid. So let's see how this import file works. So there is what we call a code window in Excel. Every Excel has a code window. A code window is where you write these scripts that can actually do these manipulations. So how do you get the code window? There are two ways. Either you press alternate and press F11, automatically the code window will appear in Excel, or you set it up in this way. Let me just show you. This thing was actually blocking my Zoom was blocking my Excel. So you can see the developer tab. This developer tab is not default in Excel. So you will see it as part of the default thing you see in Excel. The default menu in Excel. So you have to kind of bring it out. And to do that, you have to go to File, you go to Options, go to your Options, and you go to Customize Ribbon or Quick Access Toolbar. Then you pick it up. So you check. This is usually unchecked, in Excel as it comes. So this is what you will see in Excel. You will see the developer tab. It's not part of what you will see in Excel. So, but to bring it out, you just go to Options and you go to, Customize Ribbon and you click on Developer tab. And once you click OK, it will appear. So if you want to see the code window, what you need to do is to click on this developer. You come to this left side, you see Visual Basic, and you click on it, and the code window will come up. And this is where you write your scripts. So in every script, just like every other programming language, we have what we call the procedures, which is either a subroutine or a function. So by the time we start learning VBA in detail, you understand what procedures, functions, what is this is similarities and the differences between the two. So this script is actually what is importing that first thing we did. So you will see import file. So every script, you must give it a name. You must tell the compiler whether it is a sub or a function. So in this case, we say sub. So dimension is what we use for declaring variables. Variables are just placeholders. So we have different types of variables. Then this is what we use to handle errors, because sometimes exceptions are thrown up by the system. So you handle it. If you don't handle it, the system will crash. Excel workbook will crash. So this is what imports the file. You can see parts is file dialog. So when it sees that a file has, this is a conditional statement that checks whether this file has a link. If it doesn't have, if this part doesn't contain a link, it will just stop execution. But once it contains a link, it opens it up. This is this workbook opening, and you are assigning this workbook, open workbook, to a variable called AWB. And AWS is another variable for decoding the first worksheet. Now, this is where you know the number of rows and the number of columns. So you use what they call application.worksheet function to do that. And when you do that, then you can now say the range to copy. So we are copying from the, the open worksheet, and we are pasting it in the new place, the new worksheet. And this is what you use to stop your cut, copy, paste. When you copy something in Excel will highlight that range where you copied it. So use this thing to stop that and close the workbook. That is what does that. You see, the code is very simple and is something that you can read through and you understand it as well. But you need the knowledge of VBA to know how to write it, because you'll be seeing the part as variant, number of rows as long. What does each of these mean? So when we do our VBA class, full VBA class, we break it down so we begin to understand what is long, what is workbook. We all know workbook just by the name. You know that workbook is a cell workbook, worksheets is sheets. So but what is long? What is bytes? What is variant? Why are they being used? What is the file dialog box? Why am I putting comma and through here and one? So what are all these things? Why part and you put a 0 there? So, and what is this? And two quotation signs. So these are some of the things you will learn in the course of the training. And when you learn how to do it looks complex, but when you start writing it, actually, it's very simple. So let's look at other ones. So this one is the second one that imports several workbooks. So in this case, we the same, almost the same thing, but you can see that there is for here and a next. So this is what we call a loop in programming. There is a for and a next. So for 0 to upper bound of parts, do this, and you tell it exactly where it will now bring it up. So it will continue to loop until it has, loaded all the workbooks. So the same thing is applicable to the last one, which is migrate workbook into worksheets. So in this case, you will see that is a loop, but the only difference here is that I was telling it to create worksheets. You can see this conditional statement. If this is less than this, then add. So this worksheet.add is actually what is adding those worksheets. And where is he adding it? After the count of worksheets. So it checks the number of worksheets. If there are 2, add it on the third part. So it checks again. If there are 4, add it on the 5th. So it continues that way and it's endless. So cut copy mode, just like we mentioned earlier. Now, if you continue to go down, you will see other ones, but this time around, it is adding it on the same worksheet. So what is this application, the worksheet function count this? This is actually checking where the last row is, where the last record is, where the last record is. And once that happens, so we are going to demonstrate this so that we see how each of these things work. Now let's go to the first one.
I think, sorry, you guys. I know some people like, look at this many things. This code, like, it's actually very easy, right? And we are going to, build our first code together. And maybe after we build our first code, you actually understand it's actually easier than it looks. It looks very complicated, but it's actually easier than it actually looks. So let us run through the process first. Then we'll now build our first code, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you. So I want to show you guys how this thing executes line by line. So if you want to run a VBA script that you want it to execute line by line, what we usually do is we press F8. And once we press F8, it highlights the first line and reads it. And the next, In this case, it's going to call a function that is going to import this file. So when that happens, it will tell us go and select the worksheets which we want to import. Just click OK. And that's what this function does. It just imports the worksheet. Now, when it imports it, it assigns it to a variable called path. And this path is what we call an array. So array variable are a variable that contains several records in one variable. So, and it indexes them. So as it is loading those records, it is also indexing them. So the first one, you can see that if I highlight this, it will show me exactly where the records is, the first demo. So it will check whether this thing contains a file path. If it doesn't contain a file path, it will stop executing. So I move on. Now the next is I want to open that file path. And if I press on this, the system will now open the workbook. So the next is for us to now continue. It checks the number of rows. You see this is telling me that I have 11 rows. And how many columns? Formally 0, but once this executes, it has 7 columns. And if you look at the record here, you will see this is the record it opened. So it is showing me that if you count it, you have 11 rows, and this is 7 columns. So that is what it's doing. So the next is for it to now copy it. So when it copies it, you can see what I mentioned earlier, that the system has copied that range, and this range will be highlighted, just like when you copy Excel. And the next is it pastes it. You can see it has copied it and pasted in the new worksheet where we want. And it is still highlighted, just the way natural way Excel behaves. If I push again, the highlighting is gone. And the next thing is, once I push again, it closes it. So once it closes it, it ends. So you see how it has imported it. Likewise, the second part of this script, works the same way. And we can also demonstrate that. So this is the function that actually opens that. You say, oh, highlight all of them. Say, okay. So now it's checking the number of records. If you check the upper bound, it's saying it's 3. So indexing in Microsoft application starts from 0. So the first is the index is 0. So upper bound from 0 to 4 is actually 3. When we do full course on this, we know how it works. So what I'm saying is that start from 0 to this upper bound. So it opens the first one. This is the first sheet. It's just opened it. And when it is done, it closes it and it opens the second one. So we can see how it works. So it has imported it, it closes it. Second one, and it continues. You see, it has created a second sheet because of the condition I gave it here. And he pastes it on the second sheet, he closes it, he moves again. So it keeps looping. It creates the third sheet, and it continues like that until all the sheets, then it stops executing. So this is how it works. So likewise, the other one. So when I click clear, it takes out all the sheets and all that. So I will show you the script that does that clearing. So this is the script that does the clearing. So I will tell it to, first of all, get the workbook object we are working with, and I'll say for each worksheet in that workbook worksheets. So it will be looping through them. So it clears the content, it clears the format, it clears hyperlink, it removes the borders. This is border.line style is none. Then if the index is greater than 1. So what I'm telling it is that any sheet that is not the first sheet, remove it. So that is this active worksheet.edit. But you will see that I said application display alert false. What is, remember that when you want to delete a sheet, Excel will warn you. You know, it will warn you that, are you sure you want to delete this sheet? So in some cases, when we don't want that warning, we just disable it and enable it after it has done the action. So this is how VBA scripts are written. Is there any question on this simple demonstration?
Before we go into
Sir, please, I have a
this,
question.
Go ahead.
I mean, what you projected is quite tiny, but I was able to pick some little things. And one of it is that there are places you wrote end with, end if, end sub.
Yes.
At least I picked those one. And so I want to believe that they are different things. They mean different things. So at what point do you use end with, end if, or end sub?
Okay, good. End sub, every sub is what you call a procedure. Every sub is actually the block that does the execution. So whenever you start a program, you start with a sub, and there must be an end sub. That tells the compiler that you have to work within these boundaries. What started, everything inside here is what you want to work with. Once you get to end sub, the application ends. So with is, you see, in writing scripts, I could have said AW sheet dot cells dot, you know, clear content. I would have to repeat this AWS dot cells dot clear format. So I'll keep repeating this WS, but to make it shorter, clear hyperlink. To make it shorter, what I will do is I'll come here and put width. So anything that is repeating, I will now be just typing dot clear content dot clear hyperlink dot clear format, and I will just end what with. So it's showing the compiler that put this as a prefix to anything you see here. That is the meaning of with and end with. So it is a way of making our code shorter and easy to read. Makes it readable and make it very short. You know, the beauty of VBA is that you don't need to write so many complex things, unlike what macro does. Like for instance, I promise we are going to demonstrate how macro executes. So if I want to record macro, what I would do is I just go to developer and I come to this record macro. I don't know if you can see that here. There is this record macro here. The zoom, this thing here is actually, let me put it on that. Okay. So I come to this developer tab and I said, okay, I want you to record macro for me. If I want to record macro, I'll just click on developer and say record macro. And I give the macro a name. I can tell it my first macro, you know, and what do I use to operate it? I can say, okay, what this, if I press Control F, then operate it, store it in where? This workbook. Then I'll just say, okay. Once I do that, anything I start typing here, the system will be recording it. So maybe I say equal to 2 plus 5. I will then say, this is my first macro. Anything I'm doing, the system will be recording it. At the end of the day, I will now tell it to stop recording. If I want to play this macro, okay, let me now remove all these things. And I will just come here and say macro, I'll just select macro and say run. The system will just return everything I have recorded in the past. It will just do it. So sometimes when you are working on Excel and you know that tomorrow you are going to do the same thing, you can be recording it. When you are done, tomorrow what you just need to do is come and play it. Just click run and everything you did will just automatically come back. But remember also to pick up that macro and go and save it. So let us look at what macro recorded. You will see my first macro is the name. It's now range J select this cell or this. So this is macro. It can record something that's so large, but it is not efficient. So if I'm to write this in terms of VBA, it's going to be just very few lines, but macro is going to be, so some things are not necessary. All these things, some of these things are not necessary. I can say J3, instead of saying is select, I'll just say J3 dot formula. That is the way it has been designed to operate. So I don't need this one. And I will tell it to run it. And if I run it here, it will still give me the same thing. You can see, give me the same thing. So what I've done now is to modify the macro to become a VBA. You know, so I can even, I just click on it. It gives me the same. I can even not use this. I can modify this further by not using, I can reference the cell directly, not using the J14, J13, E14, and so on. So this is how we record macros and how we run it. And you can do this, but it is not an alternative for knowing how to write the script yourself and make it more efficient. And you can't put conditional, like if this, well, if this, you can't do that if you are writing macro, you are recording macro. Macro is actually recorded while VBA is written. So we only have like 30 minutes more. So let's quickly go into a demonstration on how to write our very first code. So I'll have to close this and create a new worksheet entirely that is clean without any script on it.
So can everybody, can we all open a new worksheet? So I mean, a new workbook as we begin. So we all start together and write our first macro together. I mean, our first VBA code together.
Good. So we are going to write our first VBA code. So it's a new sheet that contains no code at all. So what is this macro going to do? It's going to welcome us, you know, just when you click a button, it will just tell you welcome to your first VBA code. And I will also make it say it aloud, you know, so you can hear it. You know, so the first thing you do is you get a new workbook and you save it. Go to File, Save As, Browse. So, but you are not going to save it as just ordinary Excel workbook. You see, when you go to Save As Type, you will see that there is a lot of options here. So we are going to select the second one, which is Excel Macro Enable Workbook. You can either use this or this binary, Excel binary workbook. Either of them works. So I'm going to use the Excel Macro Workbook. My first VBA code. I give it a name and I will save it anywhere, you know, I want. Maybe I want to save it in, go to download, I save it in the demo, just click save. Once I save it, this now becomes an Excel macro enabled workbook. If you don't do this, you can write the macro and it will work. But once you close this workbook, everything written is gone. Though Microsoft Excel will warn you that there is a code, you want to save it. If you say no, it will just discard it when it is saving. But if it's a macro enabled workbook, you're going to retain them. So the first thing we do is we go to our developer tab, we click on Visual Basic, and we go to the Excel code window. In this code window, we double click the object. So we have different objects here. This is the workbook object, this is the first sheet object. So if we add another sheet, the second sheet will appear here and so on. We can even add what we call form and add class module or module. So when we do the full VBA course, we will demonstrate what each of them does. So the next is for us to write.
Just a minute. I mean, can we all confirm that we are all together? We have opened the Excel, I mean a blank Excel, and we've opened the VBA application. So can we all confirm? Are we together?
Okay, so for me, I opened an Excel and I was trying to save as Excel macros, but it's telling me that it cannot perform that presently. Like I am unable to enable macros thereabout. I mean, but when I click that Alt F11, it brings out the code sheet, that code format for me. But when I try to save using Excel macro, I'm unable to do that. Is there
Okay,
something
maybe
I'm
it's
not doing
just
right?
a cell. It will still work. What we are doing will still work, but the difference is that when you save that workbook, that macro will not be part of it. So you can copy the macro out, or you can copy the VBA script out and save it maybe in a notepad. Tomorrow, if you want to use it, you just go there, copy it and paste it again here, and it will work. Okay.
Hello,
Okay, thank
Mr.
you. So
Emmanuel. Hello, Mr.
yes,
Emmanuel. Okay, for
yes.
me, I have like different drop downs on the left. Like I have VBA project, data extractor. I have that VBA project. Okay, my first, okay, I've seen the one. So I can either choose, I have something like VBA projects. I have ATP VB, as in I have a lot of drop downs where you have this, your VBA project, that you have my first VBA something. I
What
have that.
Excel, you have a lot of them. So the one we are actually interested in is the sheet object. So you double click on the sheet object.
Okay.
Sheet
Okay.
one object.
Okay. So I have this other drop downs, those other informations now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of the other Excel sheets you have opened that are VBA
Oh,
enabled.
okay.
So yes, if you have other Excel sheets that are open, they will all be
Open.
here as well.
VBA.
So I will advise
Okay.
you close down those Excel sheets
Okay.
so that it's only one Excel sheet that is
showing. Okay.
So we start. We write, the first thing you write is you write a sub and you give it a name. My code, or my first.
Sorry, hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Have you gotten to this VPA sheet you are in now? I'm very sure it's dragging you back.
So how I got here?
Yeah.
You just press alternate F11 and you'll be here.
Okay.
It happened. Okay, we'll proceed. So the first thing we need to do is we now define our variables. So the first variable we want to define.
Sorry, sir, please. Sorry for dragging back. I don't have like this white board where that white page. I don't have.
Are you seeing the sheet object?
Yes.
When you double click the sheet object, this white page will appear.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. So in the white page, you just write this first module, and you have the system will automatically put the end sub for you once you write a sub. You automatically add the end sub. So first is we define our first variable, dim, maybe our first name, my first name as string, last name as string, so full name as string. So I have defined my variables that I want to use. Then I can say that my first name.
Just explain what string means and what dim means, so everybody.
Okay, string is just like when you want to write non-numerical characters. So we call them strings. So when you want to write numerical characters, you can say maybe bytes, long, integer, and so on. So we will discuss that in detail, when we start the full class. So, but because we want to write our names and we just want to pop it up, we will just write, define the strings. So what we want to do here is we want to do our first name here, last name, and full name. Full name. Maybe here we will put insert a new sheet. We say serial number. So so you put your first name here. My first name is Emmanuel. I put my serial number 1. I put Emmanuel. I put Aya. So I will let the system do the other one. The system should be the one to add my full name here and tell me welcome to, and do a pop-up telling me welcome to VBA class, something like that. So that is the script you want to write today. So the first is, I want to tell VBA, okay, first name is equal to cells 2,1 dot value. Last name is equal to cells 2,2 dot value. And now say that full name is equal to first name concatenate. I give a space, concatenate last name. I'll now tell it that cells 2,3 dot value should be equal to what? Full name. I'll now tell it again, message box. Let me be giving space so that it is easy to read.
And for those that, are familiar with Excel, typical Excel model, typical Excel formulas, right? It should not be very strange to you. Like, when you're writing text, you don't put text. You must always put as strings. That is double quotation, right? It's just typical formula.
Yes, typical Excel formula.
Excel formula. So we are just.
Okay, good. So I say message box. I'll just say dear. I'll say full name. I'll say welcome to the first VBA class. Thank you for joining. I'll say full stop. So see, let me just run this. Before I run it, I'll first of all go to this place and say insert. I'll just select this text box. And once I click on this, the system will automatically open for me to pick this. I will now change this thing button 1 to, I just say run first. Good. I'll give it any name I want. And I will drag it up to this point. And I'll say, okay. Once I'm ready, I will save what I've written. I will now say run. And system will automatically say, dear Emmanuel, and so on. Sorry. Emmanuel, yeah, so sorry. Cell 2,1, that's first name. Okay, sorry, 2,2. This is 2,3, and this is 2,4.
And we've explained the code once it's done.
So this is the first script that we've written. So the system have told me, dear Emmanuel, welcome to VBA class. Thank you for joining. So I click OK. You see, the system has already written my full name here before displaying it. I will now tell you how these things work. So we've defined our variables. This is our first name, last name, and full name variable. And we now begin to assign values to each of those variables. So this assignment of value is what we call initialization in scripting. So when you initialize it, so what is cell 2,2? So if you look at a cell runs by rows and columns. The first column here is column 1. The second is column 2, column 3, column 4. So A is column 1, B is column 2, C, and so on. So the rows are already numbered for you. This is row 1, row 2, row 3. So if I want to go to D2, D2 is actually row 2, column 4. Do you understand this? So this second one is C, which is 2, 3. So this is what we call cell 2,4, and so on. So the next one here should be cells 2,5, and so on. So if we want here, this one will now be cells 3,4. Do you get that? So as it goes down the rows, the first one is the row and the second one is the column range. So if you look at what we are trying to do here, we are telling it to go to cell 2,2. So that is row 2, column 2, row 2, and column 2, and pick the first, any variable you see there. That is what this dot value meant. You see dot value. So any value you see in cells 2,2, assign it to first name. Anyone you see in 2,3, assign it to last name. Now, full name should be first name, concatenate. This is a concatenation sign. Concatenate a space so that we have a space. Otherwise, the system will just join the two together. So concatenate another, concatenate the last name. So now go to cell 2,4 and dump whatever you have seen there as this full name. When you are done, message box is what we use in Excel to create a prompt. You can put it in a quote or you leave it empty. When we usually put it in a quote is when we want to do some other customization. We want to say VB information plus VB something, something, something. So that is not important to you now, so we'll do that sometime later. So let's see how this script runs. So first, we remove all this. Let's see how it runs. So I'm going to divide the screen, you see. So the first is I press F8, just like I told you guys. So the first thing it does is that it goes to this cell 2,2, which is B, sorry. I didn't put, my name is Emmanuel, my name is Eya. So this is what the data we are looking at. So it goes to cells 2,2, which is B2, to pick the value and assign it. So if you look at, if I hover my mouse here, you see that it's empty. Immediately it executes. If you go back, you see that it has assigned Emmanuel in this variable. Now this one is also empty, but once I press F8, it will assign Eya to it. So this is empty. Meanwhile, this first name and last name, they have values. So once it executes, it assigns the full name, Emmanuel Eya, into it. Now this particular cell is empty, and this full name has a value. So once I execute it, it will assign it. You see that this place has turned to the name. And the next thing is, you see that this has a value. This welcome is just a string that we need to concatenate and there. You may be wondering why I'm putting all these spaces, just so that the system will not just join everything together. And once you press this, it will prompt you, dear Emmanuel, just exactly. So the message box is actually a prompt. And once you click OK, it goes to this end sub. And once it gets to end sub, it knows that the script has ended. So this is our first class. And we can expand this by putting other names and telling it to display all this. I can say, okay, this place is Onyeka. Onyeka, I can put Eze here. I don't mind their name. I can put Binkpe, Ona, Sanya, Oyeni, Akinlolu. I can put Usman Abubakar. I can put Godwin Peppo. I can put Eso Ne, something like this. I'm going to tell the script to pop up all this information, running from first to the last one. So in this case, it's not just going to be my own first name. I'm going to tell it to run from, for I is equal to, before I use I will have to declare it. I will tell it that I as byte. So you now be wondering what is byte. We will tell you more about bytes, integer, and so on in our full class. But byte is a number that runs between 0 to 255. So that is the value it can contain. I can tell it that run from 4, I is equal to 2 to 7 to 7. Next I. So what is this thing going to do? Remember that the first row we have is actually the heading. So it's in the second row to the 8th row. So I'm going to change this thing to 8. So it's moving from the second row to the 8th row. That is what it is doing. So now, why this cell 2? I'm not going to allow this to be static. So in this 2, I'll change it to I, and come here and change this one again to I, so that it will be dynamic and not being reflective. You'll be wondering, why am I changing only the first one? Because it's going to be running down the row. So the columns and the column B and C and D that we want to be populating our data will remain fixed. But what is going to be changing is the row. So this I is, when it runs first, it takes these 2 and replace I here. When the second one runs, instead of 2, when you say next I, it moves from 2 to 3. So this I, anywhere it sees I, replaces it with 3. It will continue to do that until the last I of 8 is picked and the system will stop. So each time it runs, it's going to prompt this. So now I can expand this further and say you are number. I will can put from further formatting and say you are number cells I, 1. So it will be telling me you are number 1, you are number 2, you are number 3, and so on. So this one here represents the first row. Why this is the second row, this is the third row, and this is the fourth row. Columns. So, sorry about that. So the right side is the columns, while the left side is the rows. So these rows is represented by I. Why? Because the loop is going to be running from the second row to the 8th row. So let's execute this and see what happens. So I will now say run. He said, dear Emmanuel, welcome to VBA class. Thank you for joining. You are number 1. So it records. Once I click OK, the second one will execute. Dear Onyeka, welcome to VBA class. Thank you for joining. We are number 2. So it keeps on. So the Bingpe Onasanya, thank you. We are number 3. And it keeps on. So it goes to the next one. Abubakar Usman, you are number 5. Gorin Purple, you are number 6. And Ogene Esene Ogeneke, welcome, you are number 7. So once I do it, so I can tell it to, apart from just, apart from just prompting it, I would like you also to read it out. I can say application.speak. I can now say speak, I can put this in a variable. Let me just create another variable that is a string variable that I want to add. I can say info as string. I will now tell this, instead of this message box, I'll just typing it inside. I will say this info, this is info. I'll just copy it out. I'll say message box info. I'll say info is equal to this. So this becomes a variable. So I can tell it to speak info. And when I do that, what the system will do is each time it runs, it speaks. Sometimes we are using text-to-speech engine, so it may not be able to pronounce this ONE and all these names correctly, but let's just demonstrate it. Correct. So So you can hear that.
I don't think it's audible to us.
So this is how it works. So we've told this application to even speak. It's not just enough to just welcome us. It's also telling us, speaking. So VBA is a full-fledged programming language, and you can actually use this thing to do so many wonderful things. I can look through all the files in my system to say, okay, where is this file? Which folder does it exist in? Which date was that folder created? When last did I use it? When last did I visit that folder? I can even tell it, if I have not visited this folder in the last 2 years, delete it so that you can free up space in my system. And the VBA will pay it for you and go through your system and does that. So I think this is where we're going to end today. Okay. I'm also going to share with you this particular first VBA code we developed. So it will be nice for you to go ahead and practice. And
Mr. Mother,
if you want to learn more,
leave it up. Leave it up.
We can always do that. Go, thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Please, can you bring up the code again? Just so we can do a summary.
Okay.
Okay. So from what Mr. Mane said, right, and even just looking at it, right, especially if you know typical, I mean, if, as most of us said, we are intermediate level in Excel, right? So that means we do typical formulas, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, concatenate, and everything. This shouldn't be strange. It's just understanding so Excel VBA will actually easier to people that actually do it. I mean, use Excel on a normal basis for inputting formulas. So if you input formulas in Excel, right, and you want to put a text, for example, you know that you put a text in inverted commas, right, like we did for the info. That's there because Excel reads only numbers, right? So it's actually very easy, right? From what you are saying, obviously it will not come naturally. It will come with a serious practice, understanding what to use. Like now we know that if you like for now this first name, because Excel don't understand what first name is. So we told Excel that every time we see first name is a string. You understand? Every time we see second name is a string, right? And we've also learned about how to use cells, right? So we are looking at this row number, then column number, row number, column number. We've also learned how to use I as byte, right? So it is for looping to a particular number, 250, Mr. Manuel, 250.
Yeah?
I as byte is looping to a 200 and the max you can go.
Okay, 0 to I can go from 0 to, that is byte.
Yes,
byte can go from, so byte, let me just, byte can go from 0 to what? To 255. So this is what we call a 1 byte in system. So 0 to 255. So it is part of what we call the data types, the data types of VBA data types.
So we've also learned how to use bytes, right? We've learned that if you want Excel to speak, right, you just put info in front of the message box. So the message box is a pop out, right? If you want to speak, we just say application.speech, speak, then you put what you want to speak, right? And it speaks it out, right? So we've actually learned a lot of things, but as I said, this is an introductory class, and we cannot cover everything in this class. But I hope this has given us a somewhat an introductory view as to what is possible, right? And I'll be giving us a plan for further steps. But just before we go, somebody like about 3 people messaged me during the class, right? And I'm sorry, when I'm speaking, we also have a feedback form for us to fill, right? We know this class is not comprehensive enough, right? Because we VBA, obviously, you can't learn, as you have seen, you can't learn everything in 2 hours period. But just introduce us to it and introduce the next steps as well. So we would like to have a 6 weeks course on VBA every Saturday, 2 hours for 6 weeks, where we, and this in this course, we're not going to be saying we are going to be going straight into it, going into the different objects that we have in VBA and how we can apply every single one of them, right? So we'd like to get your feedback on this course, right? And if you've been interested in that course, right, and it's going to run for 6 weeks and it's going to be totally online, right? So it can be flexible for everybody, right? So if you'd like to be part of that program, please indicate in the feedback form, right? We just like to get a sense of what exactly you've learned today, right? If you're able to score your understanding and if you'd like to know more, right? So those that are interested in the advanced class will be in contact with you, right, as to how we want to approach the 6 weeks, right, of intense, now focused learning sessions. And once you know how to build, do a normal Excel formula, it will be very easy. I'm telling you, trust me. It's easier to learn once you know Excel. But if you're a beginner, you don't know how to use Excel formulas, it might now be somewhat of, trying to learn, okay, why am I putting inverted comma here, blah, blah, blah. But if you're already comfortable with regular Excel formulas, right, this will be awesome. Right? Also, after this session, in about 30 minutes, we'll share the recording of this class, right? So you can actually go back again, right, and learn the basics of whatever you have been taught. So as I was saying, just before the class, 3 people sent me a message as to something. So let me just share my screen. Before we close. We want to keep the time. So the messages, there were 2 people. The messages were centered around. So for example, I have and this is just a bonus as a template for you to use and edit in your personal time. So for example, I have I named my my worksheets, right? I have page 1, page 2. Let's say I named this Onyeka. Like I have different names of my worksheets, and I really want to bring out all the names of my worksheets, right? How do I do it, right? And I think 2 people sent me those questions. Another person also sent a question around, a message around, if I want to highlight a particular role, right, in various Excel sheets. So I have let's say I have 50 sheets in a particular workbook, and I want to highlight a particular cell and bring them out. How can I do it? So we just developed this, just to help those specific people. And it's on the shared drive called project automatic table. So basically, if you just click on this create TOC, right, it will bring out a prompt. Where do you want it to start from? So for example, let's say I click on this, for example, H13, right? So what it does is that it brings out the different sheet names, right? And in our formula, what we said was that go to A1 of every sheet, and anything that is there. So for example, let's say I tap Aya in A1 in page 1 and I tap Ma in page 2. If I run it again, what will happen is that it will change. So everything on cell A1 will come out here. So this is how you can bring out exactly what is in a particular role and a particular name sheet. And if you want to change it to any role, as we've learned, we have Alt F11, right? So anywhere that is, this is a template where I could just share. Anywhere that's A1, that is here, right? Just change it to the particular role you want it to be, right? And you automatically change. So let's say we want to select everything in B1, for example, or B2 or B5. So we just go to our formula, anywhere that is B2 or A1 our formula, we change it to B2, right? I hope this class has been informative enough, and we have learned. We have been exposed to the world of Excel VBA. This is an introductory class. As I said earlier, myself and Mr. Emmanuel will be taking a 6-week course, right, where we go into the different aspects of Excel VBA, right? So I look forward to hearing your feedback on those that are interested in participating in the advanced class that run for a 6-week period. We are planning to start sometime in November, so we can finish before Christmas and you can enjoy. You can be a VBA expert by Christmas. A VBA basic expert. By Christmas, you'll be able to build code by yourself comfortably, right? And we are here for any system, right? So in the mail I'll be sending shortly with the downloads, I will send our contacts in case you want to reach us for any VBA jobs or any help that you might need. We are there, right? What you should take from here is that life is not that hard, right? It can always be better. If it's on Excel, if it's a Microsoft application, anything you are doing, it can always be better, right? And VBA is the way out, right? So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you guys staying in for the past 2 hours, right? I hope you have to watch your time. So please don't forget to please fill in the feedback form. I will also share the feedback form. So it's oyenkaogu.com/feedback. I will also send it in the mail as well, right? So thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for your time. Thank you, every other person, for joining. God bless you. And we'll see those that are interested in the advanced class where we have it, right? So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.